My ex-husband divorced me to explore new things. Later, he admitted that he still loves me, and I have no idea what to do about it. We got married young, at 19 and 22, with basically a shotgun wedding after I fell pregnant. I carried for 8 months, just for it to end in a stillbirth. He was there for me, he cared, and it felt like we fell in love after we got married. Things were good. He wasn't controlling, he believed in me, motivated me to do more and more, go to school, get a degree, become a nurse, all that. He even paid for a good, and I mean a good, chunk of it himself, like most of it, when he wasn't even making good money yet. The bedroom took time to really figure out, but once it was mastered, it was mastered. He never tried to get me to have a kid again either. He was perfect, and he grew into being perfect, which just made me love him more. What we had felt so loving and good. It was like, wow, I really just stumbled my way into this. From casual friends with benefits to an amazing life and husband. And it stayed that good for a long time. Then I hit 30, and things started to change. It was little things. Little comments he'd make about how young we were when we met, how we went straight into making a marriage work, school, and apprenticeships, how we never really got to be young, even though I think 30 is pretty damn young. He started to go out with his friends more, but not like before. Before, they would come over and play video games or barbecue or something and chill out. But then he started going out, and he just started having more fun without me, I guess. Then it got worse. He sat me down and brought up the topic of an open marriage, more freedom for exploration and everything he couldn't do before me, basically. I said no. He said he wasn't sure he wanted to continue with what we had, and it all crumbled from there. He just decided he didn't want to be married anymore. To be clear, he divorced me. He didn't cheat on me, but it was motivated by the fact that he wanted to, his words. It was a bad divorce, but honestly, only emotionally. I felt blindsided and horrible, and I begged him to stay, even saying I would do the open marriage after all, which he declined. He said it wouldn't be real if I didn't want it, and thank God he did that, because it's true. But he was a good person through the whole thing. He just was. He gave me our house, which I paid a fraction for, because he wanted to make it up to me for him wasting my youth or something. Youth became such a big talking point. Man, I don't know. He offered alimony, which I should have taken him up on, but I didn't, because I felt bad, and I didn't actually need it. But the point is, he divorced me, blamed me for nothing, and was kind. I couldn't even hate him. He wanted to stay friends. I didn't, because I was still in love with him. So we landed on friendly, no blocking, follow each other on social media, no bad words to either side of the family. But we don't talk except for the yearly Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas texts. The divorce was final in January of 2019, and I thought that was that. I didn't date throughout 2019 and 2020. I couldn't, for obvious reasons. Same for 2021, just focusing on not freaking dying. But I did meet someone in 2022, and we've been dating for almost 2 years in February. It's nice, easy. He's divorced too. Neither of us wants to get married again, and it just works. We were even talking about moving in together eventually. And then my ex calls, from his mom's phone, no less. I had stayed close to her, not super close, but like a phone call twice a month and sending gifts for the holidays. So I picked up with the usual, "Hi, Judy, how are you?" And it was him. We hadn't talked in nearly 5 years, and then, bam, there you go. Ex-husband suddenly is desperate to see me. He said we really needed to talk and asked if he could come by. He even offered to bring his mom if I was uncomfortable with just him, and I said yes, but to bring his mom. Now, at this point, I full-on thought one of them was dying. Mostly thought it was him and that he wanted to make amends or something, because nothing else would explain the suddenness. He came over to the house with his mom as promised, but he looked fine. They both did, which made me so much more confused. But I let them in and waited for him to say something. It was the most awkward 45 seconds of my life until his mom elbowed him and said, "I'm not doing this for another year. Tell her." Then she added, "I'll be in the other room." Which, am I crazy, or, again, does that make it sound like he's dying? She left for the kitchen and left us in the hall, and he just started word vomiting. I don't know what else to call it. I'll type out what he said coherently, but I want to make it clear. It did not come out this clean. Being young and dumb didn't matter when I wasn't with him. He thought he'd be happy to have full freedom to do whatever he wanted, and he was, for a while. He traveled, met people, dated, but it always felt wrong. And he knew he regretted the divorce years ago, but didn't want to bother me after he broke everything apart for nothing. Apparently, he said his friends were in his ear, always talking about marriage and how it slowed them down. And he listened, despite the fact that I never tried to stop him from doing what he wanted. And he still loved me, and he wanted me back, and he never really stopped. He would talk about it year after year after year to his family, and his mom told him what I had told her about the idea of moving in with my boyfriend, and it triggered the hell out of him, and that's how he ended up on my doorstep. I felt like I was in a damn movie, except the music didn't swell, and I didn't have the magical moment of, the love of my life and I are getting back together. It all worked out. I just felt confused and angry, and I told him that this was all too much to drop on me out of nowhere and to leave. But I'd call him. So now I'm here, still confused, still angry. But now I have to figure out how to tell my boyfriend about this. I will not be leaving him in the dark. But what the hell, man? If you loved me so damn much, why did you leave? Why were you so insistent that you had to be with other people? You know I'm seeing someone. You could have tried this for the years I was single. Why now? Why? I feel so suspicious and weird, and I don't know if I believe him. But at the same time, I've never loved someone the way I loved him. Is it that insane to think that what we had did mattered to him? Is that delusional? Or did he just have a midlife crisis and regrets? I don't know. I just don't. Update. While the height of the dramatics is over, I think it went as well as it could have. I told my boyfriend everything that happened. He wasn't happy, but he wasn't mad at me or anything. I think it helped that my ex's mom had been there, and we weren't just alone, hanging out. But we talked. A lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. Spoiler. We are not breaking up over this. And you know what? I love my boyfriend. And maybe it's not as intense as what I had with my ex-husband, but that took years to get to. It wasn't overnight either. I think it also helped that my boyfriend is divorced too, and when I asked what he would do in my shoes, he had a lot to say. So we both agreed I'm going to see and talk to my ex about it. He said that if it was him, he'd want to tell his ex face-to-face that it was over. So I texted the ex, and to be clear, I wasn't vague about what was going to happen with him. The direct text, which my boyfriend saw, read, "Hey, ex's name. Obviously, we need to talk about everything that happened the other day, but I want to be clear that we won't be getting back together no matter how the conversation goes. Knowing that, do you still want to see me?" And he did. So we set up a time and place in public. And again, my boyfriend is aware of all of this and is fine with it. But he did want to come with me. Not like inside where we were meeting, but he drove me over and waited in the car. I know that could sound weird or bad, but I feel like it makes sense. He's being so calm and collected about this whole thing. I think he just wants to stay in the loop, so not a red flag to me. Anyway, I went, and we met up at a park, with my boyfriend having a direct eye line to the bench we were on, and we talked. It was a lot. Of course, my ex apologized profusely, and I said thank you for that and everything else, but that it was just too much too late. That even though I understood and forgave him, there wasn't any trust anymore. And I don't think we could come back from that. He cried. I cried a little, but it was done. The words were said. The conversation happened. We did not end up back together. He tried a little, and I think it's over for me. I think I found closure. When it was done, I said I was going to leave. He asked me for one hug, and I said yes, and I hugged him. We cried a little more. He asked if I ever thought we could be friends again one day, and I told him not to wait for that. Maybe, but probably not. I said goodbye, left the park, got back in my boyfriend's car, and cried a little more. He took me home, and we talked some more, and honestly, I feel okay. Not perfect, but like I can move on with my life, so that's that.